I also do have some tea. Very nice on a wet, cold morning. So I've got my bag of thin strips. What I've basically done is I've put a rock here, kind of like a table, and I've gotten some of the thin strips. So here I've got some of the long, thin strips. These are the ones that I'm going to be using to make the cordage. So right now it's pretty thin. If I just did a test, the cordage would be around twice this width. So it is very, very thin. That's why I'm probably going to add a lot more. Just keep on going throughout all, and there you go. You've got a nice separated strip. It's kind of long, but it's definitely better than peeling it off little by little. Now you want to make sure that you get the nice thin pieces of cordage, like so. You don't want to get any of the long, thick ones. You just want the thin ones. So after you separated your big strips of inner bark into smaller strips, you can start making the cordage. Now there are several techniques and methods when it comes to making it. I'm not saying any technique is right or wrong, but there are different advantages depending on to which technique you use. I'm going to use the double twist method, so it's a good method in making pretty space-efficient cordage that's strong, and if you have strong enough fibers and enough of them, and if they're thin enough, it should make you a really good bowstring. So what I'm practically doing is just taking the long pieces, and I'm looking to try and separate them using my fingernail. I'm just putting it down the middle and kind of like cutting it like so. This one's kind of decent. Now here I just have, shift this to the side. Here I have my wood block, and I just have my pieces of cordage like so, just organizing them neatly. Now what I do then is just I collect these pieces. Let's say I just roll them up. So here I have my batch of fibers. As you can see, they're pretty thin, they're strong like so. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center point, which is here, bring these two like here. Now I'm just going to start by twisting them. Now, as you can see, I'm twisting them counterclockwise, and I'm pushing down with my thumb so the tension remains on the twist. And you'll start to see that the fibers start to stiffen up, and they become very, very strong and under tension. And they become even thicker every time you twist them, and they'll become smaller. Now what we do is we just keep on twisting until this kind of circle just pops up like so. Now we're going to put our thumb right on the intersection. We're going to start by twisting on the right side. Just give it a few twists like so. Now we're just going to throw this counterclockwise over to the left side, and we're going to put the other one right underneath like so. And then we're going to put our thumb, we're going to move our thumb to the next area, and now we're going to twist this side. Just keep on twisting. Now we're going to press it down again like so. Now we're going to keep on moving in the same direction. I'm just going to twist a bunch of fibers and move in the other direction like so. Twist a few times. Now we're using our index finger to bring the thing underneath, so the batch of fibers underneath, over like so. And then we're pulling it up with our other index finger like this. Pull up through here. Now the more you do it, the faster and better you're going to get at it. And the more twists you put into it, the more tension is going to be, and the stronger your rope is going to be at. And now, this is a good test. So now we'll just leave that here. Now you can see that it's a lot more stiff. It becomes way more stiff. As we can see, it's kind of flexible at the same time. So here we've got a good representation of size. So we can see it's pretty thick and it's pretty strong. Now compared to my other cordage, you can see that this one is a lot thicker. But don't forget that if they are wet, the fibers will shrink just a bit. So, an easier way to continue doing the braiding, so if I'm just going to separate this, the easier way to continue doing the braiding without holding onto it continuously is to put the loop in the beginning on the top of a nail, like so. And now you drive the nail in somewhere, and this will give you tension that you could just work with very easily. You could do this with pretty much anything that just hangs. And there we go. Here This way, it's a lot easier to continue doing your braiding because now you've got the nail in. You don't need it, you just take it off the nail, and then here you can braid your wood, pulling on it with tension to help it out like so. So, unless you have 6 feet of string, you're definitely not going to make a cordage long enough from your first fibers. So, when you feel that one side has shrunken and the other one is thicker, what you do is you basically, I'm just going to pull this up a bit, what you do is you basically grab a few more fibers. I'm just going to grab 3 more new fibers, thin fibers, and I'm just going to attach them like so. Now, there's a small bit sticking out. That's okay. That's what we want. Now we're just going to do the same thing. Continue doing it. I feel like I can add a bit more. You know what? I'll just add all of them. I'm going to add. Make sure that all of them are attached like so. I'm just going to add them on to the layer that I want to thicken. And then I'll just leave it staking a bit at the top like so. And then there we go. Now it's as thick. I can continue doing the curling. Now just continue this process, and eventually you can see the fibers are going to kind of start to become ingrained inside. That's what we want. Like so. Now I can see that we've developed this thing, and we've extended the line. Now when the other one gets thin, we do the same thing. So I've kind of developed a workflow just to speed the process up. So I'll just share you what's the most efficient and effective way that I found for making cordage. So here I have my cordage. I've got the nail attached and I've got the string. So when you're not using it, I just tie it off with the plastic kind of wrapper, often found in the bags of bread. So here I just have the bags of which I've sorted out the unprocessed inner fibers of the bark. So I've already removed the outer fibers from this, so this is just the inner fibers. Now what's left to do is find the pieces of the right size and right length, and if they are too thick, then thin them down. Which then, I go ahead and I have this kind of rock where I place them down, pieces of appropriate size, which I then make into bundles. So I use these bundles to extend the cordage because one bundle of fibers will definitely not get you 6 foot across. So here I have pretty much the shortened end of fibers, and what I do is I just place it along like so. Just curl it up. Make sure to pinch it tight. Make sure they don't go anywhere. I like to twist it around a few times just to make sure it's under a lot of tension. So a good way to feel the strength and kind of tension of the string is just to touch it. Now, at some points, it'll be really thick, and this will indicate that there's a lot of fibers in a small amount of space, which is what we want. You can also try snapping it, and it's going to kind of bounce a bit, vibrate a bit. That's another way to know that it's under a lot of tension, and it is a good bowstring. So if you know that you're not going to be able to finish your cordage in one sitting, what you could do is you can grab the kind of plastic paperish band often found in the bags of bread, and you could just tie off the end of the rope. Now this will prevent the ends from getting tangled, and this will also prevent the rope from uncurling itself. So I found this very useful because I often spend a bit of time of each of my day on completing this. So here I have my rope. As you can see, it's pretty much completed, maybe just a small section at the end, and you can see it's got a lot of the fibers that I've attached to it still on it. So just start at the top, grab a pair of scissors. Be careful not to cut your rope, and just slowly separate the fibers and cut them off, like so. This will make your rope look a lot more neat and tidy.